There was a very interesting post that I saw yesterday that I think warrants having a discussion about. What is more likely to make you a millionaire, ADA or Shiba Inu? And that's exactly what we're going to discuss in this video. The data between the two of these is actually going to be very surprising for a lot of people. And I want to kind of break this down for everyone, give you my thoughts, because both are at very different points in their life cycles, have very different focuses on the future. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So this was the post that I saw yesterday. Motley Fool says Cardano ADA is more likely to make you a millionaire than Shiba Inu to its 25 million monthly readers. Now, obviously, this will, pit two communities against each other. I don't want to do that. I obviously talk about both coins here on the channel every single day. I own both these coins. I've held them now for a very long period of time. And I think each of them has their own unique potential. Actually, when it comes to a fundamental standpoint, both of these coins have two of the longest average hold times in the crypto market. They have two of the communities that are some of the most convicted in crypto. You have people that are really focusing on the future and potential and adoption. And that is where I think both of these, frankly, have a huge opportunity for a supply shock and a huge opportunity for some surges to the upside. Now, this isn't to guarantee your financial advice or anything like that. And what I will say here is we're talking about two assets that are billions of dollars in market cap, right? Shiba Inu is an $8 billion market cap. ADA is a $28 billion market cap, all right? Now, I just want to show you guys the data, first of all. It may surprise you that search analytics, search traffic for both, very consistent. Actually, up until basically November of 2024, Shiba Inu had actually been outpacing ADA, Cardano, in terms of search traffic. And really the announcement that Donald Trump won the election and this US embrace of crypto, that really is where ADA's narrative kind of changed just a little bit. And you can see it's been very consistent in terms of search traffic with Shiba Inu. Obviously, we had the big surge in March surrounding the crypto strategic reserve that ADA was announced in that caused a little bit of a spike there. But for the most part, they've been trending very much together, which may, again, surprise a lot of people. When we look at this ADA Shiba Inu chart, it may surprise you that right now, this ADA SHIB chart is exactly where it was back in February of 2024. So we're doing some very consistent things from a structural standpoint, from a search optics standpoint, but this is where the divergence begins, all right? So what we have seen so far in this cycle is ADA set an early cycle high of 81 cents. Shiba Inu ran all the way up to 4045. Late in the fall, ADA actually ran all the way up to $1.32. Shiba Inu only ran up to 4033. So what we're seeing then is that in this cycle so far, Shiba Inu has been very dependent on retail. Retail is what moves meme coin charts. It's the really retail driven assets haven't had an opportunity to shine yet because we haven't seen big adoption taking place from outside the space. We're not really getting that big surge of new crypto goers yet, right? Those times are going to be coming. Now, that being said, ADA is starting to be looked at in a little bit different of light, where it was more of a traditionally retail driven asset. It's starting to really make some strides forward in, infrastructure, right? In terms of government use, in terms of enterprise use, there's some partnerships that have been announced. There's obviously big developments that have taken place. That's something that Shiba Inu doesn't really have. So that's, again, where the paths were together. They're starting to diverge just a little bit. That's why ADA has been able to make some strides forward and set new highs in this market cycle. Shiba Inu hasn't. Now, does that mean that Shiba Inu can't? No, it doesn't mean that at all. It means that Shiba Inu is just dependent on something very different. Now, again, ADA has a huge opportunity to surge because of that infrastructure adoption, because of a spot ETF approval that might be coming here still in 2025. We obviously know that it's currently listed in two of these basket ETFs that have had approvals, but have been stayed for the time being while the SEC reviews things. They're probably waiting for the conclusion of or signing of the Clarity Act, which I'll talk more about that in another video. But that's where you could see ADA actually make these steps forward over here while SHIB is still just kind of waiting. Now, that being said, do I think that one is more likely to make people a millionaire than the other? It's just going to depend on your timeline, how long. That's kind of the big thing, right? Because we're talking about an asset with 4 million holders versus an asset with 1.52 million holders. So Shib theoretically has more room to grow just because it's still earlier on in its life cycle. It hasn't seen a full second bull market yet, where ADA's had a couple now. I guess this is ADA's technically second full bull market. It had half of one at its launch. But this is what I will say is I believe that Shib has a real opportunity when we do get retail adoption to take place. That is when I think you start to see those massive candles of 20, 30, 50, 100% in a single day. Would not surprise me at all. And at that time, we may see L1 starting to slow down. I've said that, Cardano or ADA and other US-based layer ones are probably going to be the ones that lead us into this bull market cycle, right? So that's where I think, and I'm not being biased, right? Again, I own both. I think that both truly can make millionaires, but they're going to do it in different ways. They have different paths in this market cycle. That's, again, why when we look at this chart in terms of ADA Shib here, there are peaks and valleys, right? When we see these big drops, that is when Shib is outperforming ADA. When we see these big spikes, that's when ADA is outperforming Shib. And we may do this throughout this market cycle. It may be very consistent, right? But again, the big thing that's going to bring Cardano online is going to be enterprise and governments. The big thing that's going to bring Shiba Inu online is retail. And what we're seeing right now is the big push from government and enterprise is starting to happen, and retail's just starting to peek their head over the top of the covers and pay attention. Okay. So that's what I got for you guys. So I'm sure that may not give people the answers that they're looking for, but I think both are going to do incredibly well. I think both have the opportunity to print millionaires, to retire people. And although this market cycle, I think from both sides would agree, have been very disappointing thus far, we have not seen the best part of this market cycle yet. Okay. So I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you enjoyed the video, but have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.